Hi everyone, I'm here with my brother Ernie. He's going to take us through his Nuu deck today. He's known for a few heroes in store, Nuu and KO are among them. Even Berserker Run, KO and Blitz has made a name for himself in that. So thanks for being here, Ernie. And can you let's start off with the Nuu Deck Tech here.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been playing Nuu since she came out because her hero ability and everything was just super interesting. And it's super fun to play the kind of control where your win con is making your opponent's deck worse. Is really fun. This is all a Japanese Nuu, so sorry if you're trying to look at it. It's I do it just for the funny because it's in Japanese. But Nuu overall, control hero that can not only disrupt your opponent, but then deal huge amounts of damage end game. And her deck is always good since she's centered around blue pitch cards.
So yeah, most heroes nowadays are running a fair amount of blues. A lot of the ninjas have been kind of pushed out of the meta, or even the ones that are still in the meta. Like Zen does run a lot of blues as well. So.
Yeah, and so Nuu's ability is to pitch a chi to be able to banish it. Look at the top card of opponent's deck. If it's blue, banish it, and then play those blue cards from the banish zone without paying for their cost.
It's insane.
So it gets out of control, especially against Guardian is obviously the best example for stuff like Cranial Crush, Macho Grande Blue, all these blues that just dominate the match. But ninjas are a great example, like Zen. Yeah. He's running so many blue one go again. If you catch 100 win deck,
oh yeah,
you get all the keywords and everything. It's not like they're unnamed cards. You have 100 wins, 100 wins, 100 wins, Winds of Eternity. Those are all blues that Nuu can play.
Yep.
Unfortunately, you don't shuffle the 100 wins into your deck. They do specifically say they go back into the opponent's deck.
Yes. Yeah. Any cards you play go into their one, and if you played a blue card and played their Transcend card, they get it.
Yes, they get the cheat.
The cheat. Yeah.
Yeah. So first thing I'll go over is the equipment, and the most important piece of equipment for Nuu is her helmet, the Mystic Assassin equipment, Mask of Recurring Nightmares. It has probably the most powerful effect out of the Chi cycle equipment, in my opinion.
I would say so, yeah.
And it makes it so in matchups where your opponent is not playing blue cards, your Chi are still super massive into your game plan. Because if they're not playing blue, Nuu's ability won't do a ton. It might take a card off top of their deck, but it's usually an unplayable card that won't do anything for you. A good example is Ranger, playing against Azalea. She runs Knock the Death with 3 blues that do nothing for you, and blue Spire Sniping.
If that.
If anything. Yeah. And then any other blue arrows that you can't play, so you don't have a bow.
Yep.
So your hero ability is nothing. But the helmet is crazy. So you pitch a chi to make your opponent banish a card from their hand as an attack reaction. You can do that on anything. So a great line against Ranger is you put your... Well, we'll get to the dagger in a moment.
We'll get to the dagger.
Doing a combo where you make them block and then take a card from their hand with the helmet.
Yeah. You threaten their arsenal, they block, you say, well, I'm taking a card anyway. Yeah. It's a pain to have to deal with. It's a fantastic tool from Nuu.
Yeah, it's just like Mask Momentum as well, that you will never block with this unless you will lose the game.
Yeah.
If you don't.
You do not want to block with it unless you absolutely need to.
But the fact that it is Blade Break 2 means in the late game, when you have the win in your hand, you can use this just to save yourself and then win the game. So it's great overall for Blade Break 2 as well.
Fantastic, yeah. All in all, definitely fantastic piece.
Huge piece of equipment for Nuu. And then her second best piece of equipment is like the basic, the Beckoning Mistblade.
It's made for her.
Super good. 2 pitch for an attack for 1 to go again. If it hits, your next blue attack this turn gets +1 and go again. That is her entire deck at the most.
Pretty much.
So many blues that will synergize with Beckoning Mistblade that this card almost demands a block every single turn.
Mm-hmm.
This combo with the helmet where you do your dagger and late game then you use your chi to make them banish a card is 2 cards out of your opponent's hand before you've played anything. You've only swung your weapon.
Yeah, and you're just recurring the chi.
Yeah. So Beckoning Mistblade is one of the best daggers out there. I run Scale Peeler as my second dagger. This is confrontational. Like, there's so many daggers for Assassin that you can't really go wrong. I think second, if I weren't to run Scale Peeler, it'd be Spider's Bite.
I think you can probably tailor this pretty well to your store meta.
Yeah. Store meta, is huge for this equipment.
Or if you're taking this into competition, what you're going to expect to see there strong wise. Here in the store, a lot of people have armor and like to block with armor. Scale Peeler does fantastic job of
Yeah.
stopping
these,
that.
these cycle of daggers all have the piercing one go again, and when they hit, they make a certain type of card defend for one less. Scale Pillar makes equipment block for one less. So against Guardians, Zen as Ninja, anyone who wants to do one turn where they will just put their equipment down, Runeblade with all their new equipment where they just can block like crazy.
Block crazy, make things, yeah.
Scale Peeler is just, you want your opponent to block these because it's like you're disrupting their turn by making them give cards to daggers.
Yep.
So,
and it never feels good to block a dagger because everything overblocks it, even if it's a 2-block.
yeah.
So, but sometimes you have to. Same thing like with Beckoning Misplay, as I said, it's like it almost demands a block.
Yeah, because the potential of getting going again on one of your big blue attacks is insane. So we'll keep coming back to the daggers because they're important to.
Oh yeah.
These 3 pieces are important to almost every one of your lines in your deck. But we got to get to the ultra controversial pick that I run, which is Black Tech Whisperers, over what's it called, Silent Stilettos?
No, Silent Stilettos are the illusionist ones. I know the one you talk about. They're the ones that they make a Slither token.
Yes.
Battleworn. They're
Battleworn 1, pay 1 pitch for attack reaction to create a Slither in your hand, which is give go again.
Yeah, target attack gets go.
Go
Attack. Attack. Yeah, so you can use it on anything, although your daggers already have go again, so you're not using it on that.
Yeah, but it's great playing against an opponent who has blues that don't have go again, so you can try to do that. I still prefer Black Tech Whispers overall as the recursion of using the silver, because they have the ability that when these are in your graveyard, you at the start of your turn, you can destroy 2 silver to re-equip them. So you can use them over and over. Their blade or Battleborn 1, and their attack reaction is Assassin attack action card hits, it gains go again. So it's a free attack action compared to Stilettos, which cost you 1.
Yep.
So this is a little bit sneakier than mix with your Arousing Wave to get to your 3 reaction breakpoint.
And you find that you don't need having the other common boots.
I
For
haven't.
getting the 2 reactions out of it. Just one is fine. You find.
Yeah, I think if our meta were to shift slightly, like maybe if they were more illusionist in our store, like more not Prism, but Enigma. The other one's probably better, just so you can threaten more Bond's Agonies throughout the match. But that matchup's already you're losing. Like Illusionist is such a hard matchup for Assassin. Yeah. I don't want to sideboard out a piece to help me in a matchup that I'm probably going to lose anyway. I'd rather have a better matchup into make 50-50s, 60-40s for me.
Yeah,
so that's why I prefer Black Tech.
And I think that's the right approach to it. If you have a really bad matchup, you're not going to be able to fix it by 1 card.
By 1 piece of equipment. Yeah.
So.
Plus legendary versus common. So let's flex
you're flexing it.
Even though the best common here is Arousing Wave.
And not even close, I don't think.
Yeah, it's so good. Battleborn 1. So
blocks. Well, Beckoning Misplay also common.
Also common.
Yeah.
Token. Attack reaction, pay 1 to create a Fang Strike in your hand, which is an attack reaction that gives +1 damage. This is 2 attack reactions in 1, which turns on a lot of your cards that require 2 reactions. Double Trouble, let's just pull it out. Let's pull out Bonds of Agony. This is the card that you want more reactions.
This is the card I have to read every single time he plays it.
Yeah, it's got the brick of text. It's got the Yu-Gi-Oh style text. Oh, I see.
I don't know. It's like a dog hair or something.
Yeah. He's got the dogs loose in here, man. Bonds of Agony is if you have played or activated 3 or more attack reactions this chain link, so on Bonds of Agony, it'll gain +3, and on hit, look at your opponent's hand, choose a card, and then search their hand, deck, and graveyard for banish up to 3 copies of the chosen card. Then they shuffle the deck.
Yep.
So this could potentially take away a massive key piece from your opponent's deck, and all 3 copies of it.
Yeah. We go back to the Azalea. You hit Knock the Death Whistle in their hand, and then that's gone for the game. They can't use it ever.
Yeah. And it can be 2 of the same card is in their hand. So you're getting 2 out of their hand instead of 1. It also sets up, this is massive against Guardians, is you get to hit a blue like Macho Grande, and you get all 3. So now your end game is just play those Macho Grandes later, because you already set it up with these.
Or even anytime you can keep a cheat card around, just pitch to Nuu, here's a Macho Grande, here's another one, here's another one.
Exactly. And then Bonds of Agony. So you need 3 more reactions, which most of the time means you need to have a 3 or 4 card hand. But with your equipment, if you have this and a blue, you always have the potential to activate Black Tech and a Rousing Wave. Which will mean that your opponent has to respect this almost every time it comes down on the board. They can't just say, oh, no blocks, because you'll reactivate these, it'll go to 5, which also means that like Fate Foreseen and Sink Blow, Oasis Respite aren't enough to stop it.
Forces that awkward breakpoint. You can actually even do that. You just keep Bonds of Agony and Tunic counter.
Yep.
That's all you need to do to activate all of these. So, again, I'm assuming Tunic
This is
counter.
the chess piece you always run. You never change it.
It is never a wrong call.
Yeah. It's always good. And yeah, exactly what
The only
Sylvia was
one
saying.
would be maybe Redback Shroud, but that's a far
That's
cry down.
different. It's a little different. If you're running, like, you can't run it if you're running Black Tech. So, but it's a different list almost entirely.
Yeah.
So finals is just perfect because now you just have Bonds of Agony. You play it. You have your counter on here, which means you are threatening it with no cards in your hand, which no hero could do. Play 1 card and rely on their equipment to totally disrupt their opponent.
Yeah, and to threaten 5 and disrupt.
And as well, this is a blue card. So you play this, you have now fulfilled the requirement of all your chi cards. If you played a blue card, Transcend.
Yep.
Which will give you your chi resource.
And it could have +1 and go again already.
Yep. Dagger can give it already go again, which means this is actually a bait. You want them to block this, so you have a bigger attack.
Or just a second one.
Or just the second one.
They blocked
Which
6
has
on the,
happened.
they blocked 6 on the first one, you're like, okay.
Yep. And another Bonds of Agony.
Yeah. Give me your whole rest of your hand, and then...
And the helmet's an attack reaction.
Yeah.
So making them remove a card already is steady 1 on this, which means you don't have to use another one of these. You can just use a rousing and keep your boots. It's fantastic.
So much to push things over the edge there.
That's your key line to do, is all based around Bonds of Agony, and then other cards that do Bonds of Agony-like effects, which is make your opponent block when they don't want to, make them... I get to pick cards for them to remove from their hand, or I'm dealing just straight damage. That will come in the way of a card like Just a Nick, Hiss, and Venomous Bite, which punishes your opponent for going, oh, you don't have a reaction, no blocks, and you turn a 1-power card into a massive amount of damage.
Just a Nick is...
Just a Nick's one of the best example.
A 0 for a +5.
Yeah, 0 for
you
plus
have to
5.
target a 1
A 1-power
but
card.
That's...
There's a lot.
Yeah.
I'll also show Persuade Prognosis. It does the same thing as Bonds, except you just get 1 card. You get to banish top card of their deck, look at their hand, and banish card of the same color from the hand. So both of these can be triggered by just a Nick, which gives it +5 and banish an additional card off the top of the deck when it hits. It is the bread and butter of the deck is the hit with these.
A superb card in general.
And when you have extra pitch, you'll play stuff like Venomous Bite and Hiss. Both respectively give +3 for 1. Hiss creates a Slither, which can give go again. Venomous Bite creates a Fang Strike, which can give +1.
And you can save those for the next turn too.
Yep.
If it's not needed, just put it into Arsenal.
It's just like Pummel, WTR style Pummel, where you put Bonds of Agony, they go, oh, okay, block 9. You don't have to dump your reactions. You just go, okay, fine.
Just don't.
I'll save my just a Nick for next turn. You never lose in the situation where you play Bonds or you play Persuasive. You always have the upper hand there.
And that's the mind game of, I think, when you're playing as Nuu and playing against Nuu. It's you don't have anything.
Yeah.
Prove it, or I'm gonna overblock, and you're gonna say, well, yeah, you're right. I didn't have anything. I'm gonna just Arsenal anyway, or I did, and it's overblocked enough. You lose value, and I Arsenal anyway.
Yeah, there's almost no right choice, which is the frustrating part about playing against an assassin, specifically a Mystic Assassin, is that they have so many options on each attack. They're not like KO, for example. I play Wild Ride, I have Go Again. You know I'm going to attack again. I don't have 3 different lanes to go, but I do. So your opponent really has to weigh the options of what's worse and what do they have. So playing against a Nuu, the best advice is to continuously check their graveyard for what they've played already and what are the odds that they have another copy of these cards.
And then sneakily put a 4th one in. No,
And then you
I'm
put a
kidding.
4th one in.
Don't do that.
It's just a Nick, just like all other cards. These you only run 3 copies, so you can start narrowing down. Okay, these are the potentials that Nuu has against me. But in the early game, you just gotta be prepared for anything. The Another reaction that I wanted to talk about for this that doesn't deal damage but is relevant. The Siren's Call.
Horrible.
I hate it. No one likes this card.
Nope.
It's very mean. So Siren's Call is an attack reaction. Still costs 1 like Venomous Bite and Hiss, but it doesn't add. It makes me look at the opponent's hand, look and choose a blue card, and add it defending me. And if I do, I draw a card. So say I play Bonds of Agony, and my opponent goes, okay, well, I can't let this hit. I'm going to block 6 and a piece of equipment. So they're blocking 8. And they're keeping 2 cards. They'll probably pitch 1 and attack with the other one. I now play Siren Skull. I take away their pitch card. They're over blocking by a ton.
A lot, yeah.
So like my goal wasn't to hit, it was to make them lose cards. And now all they're going to do is Arsenal, and it goes right back to me. So Siren Skull is another tool in your pocket to make your opponent lose cards every turn. And just like the helmet, Siren Skull isn't limited to these of having 1 power or an attack action, assassin or mystic. Siren Skull can be played on any attack, so you can do it on your dagger. So, like we mentioned earlier, Acne Mistblade, it gets blocked often. So you pitch a blue, you spend 2 to swing a dagger, they block it, you play Siren Skull for the extra pitch, they now it's put another card, so blocking potentially 6 on top of 1 power. I draw. They're down to 2 cards, I'm back up to 4. Siren Skull, these 4 are your key attack reactions to win a match.
And obviously 3 ofs.
3 ofs.
3 ofs.
All this.
3 ofs, yeah. Okay.
So that's your bread and butter for winning. We should go over sideboard a little bit before I go into just like the key pieces.
Yeah. I see you have a piece of equipment there.
Yeah. There's sideboard for illusionists and there's sideboard for wizards and there's sideboard for non-blue decks. So Famous Determination is a very basic one. It replaces your arousing wave against. I would only run into Prism.
Even not into Enigma?
No, because you want
I guess so, yeah.
the disruption against her, but because Prism has no blues for you to play, you need to play aggressive. You can't wait till the end game.
No, because you will lose. Referring to Adam's Prism deck, which we did a deck check on before. He's going to send something like 6 and then 4 and then 6 again.
Yeah.
And it does, unless you're threatening disruption, there's no way you keep up with that damage number.
No, you can't keep up with it, but when you have something like Famous Determination, which is a once per turn attack reaction, repeatable, it doesn't break when you do it, so it's still helpful for bonds. To make the next prevention effect prevent 1 less. So this helps a lot of playing aggressively against his angels, which have ward 4, to make them ward 3, which means when I attack with a basic 0 to 4, like Leave No Witnesses, he has to also give me a card to make sure it doesn't hit.
It's a very good force of Breakpoint. Also, it can be played off of just tuna counter.
Yeah, 2 to counter onto Van Brace.
Leave no
It's
witnesses,
fantastic.
tuna counter, man race.
Yeah.
It's a big threat. It takes a card out of hand.
And only against Illusionist. It's just there for that. I know I already said, oh, don't put sideboard for a losing matchup, but this will finally win you a matchup against an Illusionist as Van Brace's Determination.
The amount of power difference that it gives you from that compared to a Rousing Wave is you lose that one on 1 health, but you have a... Well, no, you don't actually. You have Blade Break, but you have to pay.
It has Blade Break for 1. It's relevant. Herald of Erudition, is that the stupid one?
Herald of Erudition is the stupid one. You block that in black tech.
You put those 2. You lose it, but at least you didn't lose the game.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's not one that feels good to have to do, but sometimes you just do.
Yeah.
Especially into Prism. Early on, they get an Erudition turn, or it's been Goliath,
and you just need something to stop it. It's there.
So you look at the camera and say, "Help!
Help me, please! Some chat, please ban this guy." Wizards and Ranger.
Yes.
You will run Oasis Respite.
2 of?
2 of. Because you already have a great matchup in 2 wizards in general.
I guess a lot of pitch cards.
Yeah,
this one.
because your deck is heavy blue, you can run AB very freely, and they printed amazing AB equipment.
Oh yeah,
for
no,
Assassin.
these are
We'll
fantastic.
go over that in a sec. But Oasis Respite's also good in the Ranger for anyone that you are assuming is going to dominate big attacks. Oasis Respite. Pay 1, prevent 4 off a single target of your choice, and if you have lower life than your opponent, heal 1. This can get you out of a lot of bad situations where you have kept a full hand to do something crazy. You get hit with a red and a ledger coming at you for 8. Oh, well, I can't stop that with regular cards. But if you have Stink Below, or even Black Deck a card and Oasis, you can get over a ton of break points that you can't otherwise. That's relevant for Ranger. And then obviously for Wizard, you're playing against a Kano. As soon as you see one of these, it lives in your arsenal for the rest of the game.
Yep, it does not move ever.
Until they play Aether Wildfire, you go, nope. You stop it, and that's one of the combos gone. You're milling them, so most of the time, one nope for Oasis settles the match. They tried to beat you, you stopped it, it's over. Also, what helps you against Wizard is the Respirator, or the Widow Veil set. So Widow Veil, Widow Web, Widow Carapace, and whatever the other one is called, all are normal Arcane Barrier equipment, but they also have Spell Void 1. So not only can you pay into them, in a desert situation, you can break them for Spell Void. So this just stops Kano.
They do the first Wildfire, and they're like, ha, joke's on you, I have a second Wildfire.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
You're like, okay, well, here we go.
Yeah, so I guess I'll Spell Void it too. Oh, and you're going to run Lantern as well. I didn't have it, but you're also going to run Lantern to Wizard.
Yeah,
so you could still have
AB3.
your Arousing Wave when you find those for your key combo. But now you have AB3 and get out of jail free of, they had double Wildfire. Oh, like I got caught. Okay, well, AB at 2, I'm only going to take a certain amount. I don't die. Super, super good.
Speaking of AB and stuff, for Runeblades, do you just run Lantern?
Yeah, Lantern every time, like because you don't need Spell Void, and you don't like Scale Peeler feels good into them, most of them, but like Aurora, Binset, you want Lantern. I think arguably you could say Scale Peeler into Viscerai.
Maybe. I still think.
Like if someone did it, I wouldn't argue it.
For AB.
Yeah, but you don't want to run one of these instead because you basically need all your equipment to beat those Runeblades.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lantern is where it's at for Rune Chance. Alright, so that's equipment, sideboardy stuff.
Sideboard. Main
And
board,
then your main
point.
This is your win con.
That's your win con. That's what you do.
Now there's other ways to get closer to your win condition. It comes in the form of Lexi's favorite tool, which now assassins get to use. They could before, but not even close to as good as Assassin can.
Yep.
So, Codex of Frailty, 0 cost. Each hero puts an attack action card from the graveyard face down to their arsenal, and then each hero who does so discards a card. Also, it gives you a Ponder, which at the end of your turn you draw a card before your arsenal.
Fantastic.
And your opponent gets a Frailty. Not always a ton, but Ranger, Ninja, anyone who wants to swing their weapons or shoot from their arsenal just gets punished for it for free.
And anyone who might, anyway, because you might have disrupted them.
Yep.
And be like, now they're down to swing the weapon, well, it comes in for 1 less.
Yeah, it's just overall fantastic. And there's 2 cards you always want to grab with Codex if you can. First one being Leave No Witnesses, which leaves you to a 0 pitch, 1 card, disruption, damage turn. Leave No Witnesses is a 0 for 4. It has a contract that whenever it banishes a red card, you create a silver. That helps get your black deck moves back. But the most important text is when it hits, banish top card of their deck and a card in their arsenal. So the combo you're going for here is you play Codex while their arsenal is open, and you only have Codex in your hand. So you blocked 9 on your turn. You play Codex, choosing Leave No Witnesses. You are unable to discard because you don't have any cards to discard. Your opponent has to put a card from the graveyard into the arsenal and lose a card from their hand. So they go to 3 cards in their hand. And now they have to answer Leave No Witnesses, which is a 4 power on hit, banish the arsenal. So you're threatening two cards away from them for nothing. And not only that, you are now setting up with Ponder to draw a card and set up your next turn even stronger.
Give yourself a 5-card hand. I'm assuming most cards you're fine with putting in arsenal. There's not anything you really don't want to put there.
Chi, the resource.
Oh yeah. If you're already transcended and it's just a cheat card, yeah, no, that stays in hand.
Don't do it. Don't do it unless it's like super endgame.
Super endgame and you go desperate. Yeah. If you're like, I think I have 2 more coming up and I can't have 3 in a hand, yeah, you're screwed if you do that.
The Chi cards though are amazing in the arsenal. You find arsenal in almost anything in this deck. Not Blue Shred, but I cut that from my list, so don't worry. So that is a great line. And then it has its bigger brother modes. This is the Ernie attack, this is the Sully attack. So you keep a blue.
Yep.
And you do the exact same thing as you pitch your blue. You swing a dagger like beckoning, scale peeler depending. Scale peeler if they have equipment. Usually they don't block it because like, oh, you have one card in your hand, you have one pitch, you can't really do anything. They take one, you play Codex. Oh, sorry, I meant to mention, you need to have your findos at 3 for this to work. With one card. If you have 2 blues, it's free. But
Yeah, two blues, you go dagger, dagger,
Codex,
Codex.
command and conquer. So it's stronger, harder for them to block, just does more damage.
And no
overall.
D-reacts as well.
Yeah, they cannot D-react.
If they still have a card in hand, they can D-react the...
You can D-react leave no witnesses to cover it up. You cannot do that with command and conquer.
You cannot.
So doing a line like this is another, it's just like persuasive in bonds. It's a line that's going to carry you through your match, and you'll find you're winning because you're doing this 3 times a game. And then because we're running Preserved Tradition, you're doing it 4 times a game. So you will put your Codex. This always target Codex. Preserved Tradition Tech. Always target your Codex of Frailty with this.
I assume that you don't... If you have the option to transcend, though, you don't wait around for a Codex to be there.
No,
you just do it.
You just transcend. Yeah. But if Codex is there, you always preserve Codex.
If you can, Codex. If not, probably Bonds of Agony or Persuasive.
Yeah, Bonds of Agony, Persuasive, E-Strikes, like, just good cards.
Just good cards, yeah.
So, those are 2 huge lines. We'll put all those guys up here. So now we'll just go to the generic cards that just are super good in your list. E-Strike, obviously, staple in tons of decks.
You can put in basically anything. No one's gonna have a problem with it. No one's gonna be like, well, you shouldn't do that. No, it's just good.
It plays really well into Nuu's, oh, like, what am I going to do? Dagger, I have 2 cards in my hand. They go, oh, well, I'm going to block the daggers. They might have a blue. E-Strike for 7. So you just, explosive, big damage out of nowhere. It does everything you want. It has go again. If you're just trying to do a longer chain, you can draw a card in desperate situation. It's a tool in your deck that can help you out of any situation you're at against your opponent. But most of the time, dagger 7, you're happy. You're dealing 8. You're threatening 8 damage off of 3 cards. You're happy. Looking for a scrap. Bomb alert. Fits so well into now ninjas, but also assassin, where you pay 2 for your dagger. The 1 floating goes into a looking for a scrap, which is additional cost, banish a 1 power card from your graveyard. Your deck's full of them. You'll always have 1 power cards in your graveyard. Gets +1 and go again. So it's just damage. Just like E-Strike, this is how you're lowering your opponent's life total.
Just a 1 for 5 go again is a great deal. You don't get that. You have to take a card. You have to banish a card from your
Graveyard.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Maybe if you're into some weird mirror matchup, you don't want to do that quite so much.
And then looking for a scrap, as well as lowering your opponent's health, has the potential of doing what we were talking about with having a blue Codex CNC. But if you have a hand like this, where Codex is in your... No, it doesn't even have to. Yeah, CNC's in your graveyard. You only need these 3 cards to do it. You can have a force card to do more damage, whatever you're doing. But looking for a scrap, 2 float, Codex, CNC. 11 damage, disruption, didn't cost you too many cards. Nope. It's very good. So, looking for a scrap at E-Strike are your damage cards. So you're actually reducing the life total to win the game. Because disruption won't win you the game eventually.
No,
it'll help.
It'll get you close, but you need to do the damage to actually win. If you're disrupting and it's like, oh, I've done 1 damage, and get towards the end of the game, it's like, well, I've disrupted them a bunch, and they still have 25 health.
And they have half their deck left. Not in a good spot. So you need to every now and then, and it's the best because when you disrupt, it usually leaves you to have a full turn, which is then when you deal damage instead of disrupting. But a lot of the time, the damage, like Command and Conquer, has disruption built into it.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. Warmonger's Diplomacy, always good. Turns off Rangers completely. Turns off Rune Blades completely. It's a blue in your deck at the end of the day for pitching for daggers.
And it blocks for 3.
It blocks 3.
There's some ones where you play against a ninja. Ninja's not going to care at all.
But it's you can.
But then you don't play it. You block with it or you pitch for it.
Yeah. Super good. You will run this into almost everybody. I run 2 of. I feel like that's enough for me to disrupt twice a game with this and win the match. You could add a 3rd one. It's your store man. If
there's a bunch of Azaleas.
Bunch of Rune Blades. Put a 3rd one in.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it fits in your deck really well. I had certain. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah, you
Brought out last card I want to talk about is Surgical Extraction, which does just like CNC. It's a 2-cost of a mix of damage and disruption. But this one is when it hits, banish shop card of your opponent's deck and look at their hand and banish a card. So you get to pick the card that gets banished from this one, which is super good. It doesn't matter what color the card was, doesn't matter anything. You just get to pick one.
And that can be a Guardian Macho Grande. They're not going to want to block with it, but
yeah, you look at their hand and it's pummel, an attack, and a blue. You go, oh, I take the blue away. Your hand is now nothing. But if I were to play my helmet, they go, oh, okay, I'll get rid of the pummel, but at least I'm still swinging like choke slam or something, right? But this lets you just ruin a turn. And the fact that it's an assassin attack action means that just like Bonds, it gets great value from Venomous Bite and Hiss, as it goes from a breakpoint of 4 to the breakpoint of 7.
Hiss even.
Hiss can bring it. Venomous Bite can put it up to 8.
Put it up to 8. Yeah,
that's just extra. But 7 is where you want to be, because that means you attack with this. They say no blocks, or then they go Fate Scene, Venomous Bite, boom, you're over the top.
Over the top, and you keep the Fang Strike for the next turn.
Yeah. So this is another card of push damage and disruption. It's like it's basically, and 3 of all these cards. Yeah. Deck list posted in the description below. Please ring that bell. What did everyone say in 2010?
Like and subscribe, ring that bell. I don't think the bell was.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
It's damage and it's disruption. It's a key piece in your deck, and it's fantastic. Sully, do you think I missed anything?
Maybe just the cheat cards. Which ones do you run for that?
Just cheat in general. I run almost all of them. Is there one missing here? It's cheat resource.
Yep. So you run 6.
Run 6 and there's 8, or is it 9? I'm not running Stir the Pot because shuffling my deck doesn't do a ton, and you don't need too much chi in Nuu, because we want the helmet as often as you can. 6 is perfect. You don't need her ability to the end game, which is when their card is going to come back anyway from once you actually do helmet, they go on the deck, you wait for them to come back. Yep. You don't want to get caught with too many chi in your hand because you will take damage when you didn't need to.
Because you've got Preserve Tradition, which is for
Preserve Tradition.
Put
Put an action card from your graveyard back to the bottom of your deck. Super good. Pass over. This card's really effective in Nuu, where it's banish a card from an opposing graveyard. So if you know you can play a blue and pass over, and then target a blue card in the graveyard, you can then play it if you had go again, because you just shot it. So say you're playing against a Guardian, you Macho Grande them. Hits them, it goes in the graveyard. They go, okay, fine. It's out of my banish zone, they can't do it again. You pass over the same card you just played last turn, goes back into banish zone, you do it again. Yep. So this card is very effective in comboing with Nuu's hero ability. Rising Sun, Setting Moon kind of can just get you out of a sticky situation, and you can play it whenever. It's not limited to anything. Like these require a card in the graveyard, so sometimes if it's early game,
you might not have that.
You can't even play these. This card you can play no matter what. It's just draw a card and then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. So it's potential fixing. It's a sink below effect. Turns into chi. Super good.
Just a very useful card.
Path Well Traveled is insanely good. It just gives an attack go again.
Yep. You give any attack.
Any attack.
CNC, E-Strike.
In my opinion, Surgical Extraction is the best target for this, because it's blue and it's damage, which means they have now overblocked it most likely. You give it go again. You took their last card now with the chi, or you're attacking with something from their banish zone, or you're just playing another card from your hand. So this is the most powerful chi for just giving go again. Homage. Nothing wrong with healing once. Blue Sigil of Solace.
Yeah,
that turns into a chi. Play whenever you want, because it has no restriction. Grain the tips of scale. Give an attack +1. You can play this on daggers.
Yes.
Which is huge when they have already blocked with an equipment, temper, and then they put 1 on Beckoning Mistblade.
Oh yeah.
And then you play like Homage, Grain the tips of scale. 2 chi. You've hit with your dagger. Your turn went from, oh, I'm just swinging dagger, to now I'm potentially swinging all these attacks from the banish zone. Super good. I do not run Drop in the Ocean, as it is given attack -1, which most of the time you only want to do on your opponent's turn. There is ways to do it on your own turn, but it's not worth it because Nuu doesn't need more chi than this. Stir the Pot, I don't need the shuffle. think there's another
I
one.
thought there was one more, but it's not coming to mind right now.
We'll put it
Maybe
in
is.
post.
Put it
There's a big photo of it over my face.
big photo over his face for the rest of the.
There's,
Yeah.
I can't remember what the if there is another one.
If there is, I don't know if there is. But yeah, I think that covers most of it. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, that's all the cards I was wanting to talk about here.
Well, thank you very much, Ernie.
Yeah.
This is a fun one. Your deck is very good. I don't enjoy playing against it because, of, as you said,
That is
all
one more
the-
thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
If you play this deck, get ready for people to whine.
Yeah,
People don't like it.
I will complain about it. It's not his fault. It's he's doing everything that he should be doing.
No,
and
like-
that means the deck is good.
Like all card games, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah,
Which is fair. When someone says, "Oh, no, this sucked because you were disrupting me the whole game," that makes me happy because it means I was fulfilling my game plan.
he's
But
doing what's right.
Just
It's
be
a-
ready. Like if you're
Yeah.
gonna play this deck, it is a tilting game plan that you are playing against your opponent.
Yes. And yeah,
That's great. Yeah, thanks, Sally. This was a lot of fun.
I'm good. Okay.